Hello, beautiful people. I wanted to hop on and talk about something that has changed my way of looking at things and I think will really help you. It's how to handle triggers. Um, I feel like triggers were a huge thing over the last couple of years, and everyone's like, oh, this triggers me, that triggers me. And I started looking at things differently once I had my spiritual awakening. So, really quick, my name is Mary Beth. I'm here for guidance and tips and tricks on your healing and spiritual awakening. If you like my video, please hit like, and if you really like it, please follow and subscribe. So I had my spiritual awakening at the beginning of the year, and prior to that, I was in therapy for about a year and a half, and I kind of hit this wall of, you know, not feeling like I was doing all the right things, but not really getting it. And so once I had my spiritual awakening, it changed the way I look at everything. And so I wanted to give some hints about triggers today. Um, so, what I believe is that we all have these soul contracts coming into this life. And I believe in karma. So, that may be a little esoteric for a couple people, but just go with me. Um, I'll explain some of the other stuff and have links to other videos of kind of what I dove into to kind of get me into that conclusion. But it's something I truly believe in. So we have these soul contracts that we have, and we also have karma. So just certain vibrations that, certain things that have happened into our lives that we really need to work on. So feeling guilt and shame, unworthiness, needing self-love, that's a big one, at least for me. And so we need to work through these things because those are low vibrations. We're not meant to feel guilty or shame or unworthiness. We're really all these beautiful souls that are trying to get to this really wonderful level of unconditional love. And, you know, we're technically all one and we're all on our own path getting there. So we have these people who are in our lives that are here to help us work through these low vibrations. So a lot of the times when we have triggers, it can be our loved ones that are triggering us. It can be a partner, a parent, a best friend. Something I've really realized are your children. You never expect that before being a parent, and then all of a sudden you're a parent and you're like, they're not listening to me, and you get really triggered, and that is really hard as a parent. I've had to go through that a lot, going through your triggers, because when it's your child, you know, there's some of the best teachers because they're sitting there triggering you, and you have to learn how to work through that. And when we look at triggers, instead of looking at them like you want to avoid them, because that is what I originally did, and I feel like a lot of people were doing, like, that person triggers me, I'm not going to have them in my life anymore. And I did this. I had someone who triggered me in my life, family members, and it before I was able to go through my my therapy and everything and learn how to work through some of these things, it was just easier for me to close it off because something triggered me and closed it down. And if this is what you have to do because you just don't have the resources, I understand. I get it. But that's not what you want to do, because what happens if you avoid is, I believe in my first video I talked about your energy. So you've got your energy going through your body, and when you avoid something, you are taking that energy, that negative energy, and you're just festering it inside of your body. And eventually that can actually cause a lot of actual physical health problems. Like, some people will have back problems and shoulder problems. That's because that energy is just really in there. And so it's really not good for your body, energy wise or physically, to hold on to that negative energy. And so what you want to do, instead of holding it on, you want to work through that. That way you can let it flow. So let me get back on my train of thought. So instead of avoiding, you want to look at these triggers as someone helping you. Okay? So before we go into our lives, we have all of these people who are meant to come in, trigger us, so that we can work on these low vibrations of self-hate or guilt or shame, and whatever issue it is that you are working on or needing to work on. So when you have a trigger, instead of avoiding it, instead of try not to look at it, what you want to do is you want to say, okay, be angry at first, or whatever emotion you need to be, and then you want to meditate on it, because when we are feeling a low vibration, that is our ego. Your ego is what tells you you're not worthy, that you should feel guilty for this, you're not good enough, you should feel shameful. Your ego is this side of you that is barking at you, telling you how unworthy, how guilty, all these low vibrations. And as much as you want to hate the ego, that's really not the goal here either, because your ego is actually just trying to protect you, saying like, oh, this person did this, and so it's trying to get you away from those low vibrations, and that's kind of what makes you do the avoidance, is your ego saying like, oh, don't talk to that person, they make you feel this way, and it makes you feel like this. So your ego is not Sonia, I'll have to remember her last name, but she calls it your barking dog, and I love that. It's your barking dog that tells you, but you don't shoot the dog, you train your dog. Okay, so I love that analogy, it's wonderful. So you have to train your dog. I am worthy. Don't worry. I'm safe. I know that this is an issue that I have to work on. So once you figure out, you hear your barking dog yelling at you, you quiet your barking dog. And that's when you can go inside and internal. And that's where your soul is. So that's why meditation is so key and so important. I hear a lot of people who talk about meditation being really hard. I can't quiet my mind. My mind's crazy. Meditation can be so many different things. It can be yoga. It can be journaling. It can be going for a walk and looking at nature. It's really about just quieting that ego barking dog and really going inside, because once you're connected to earth and source and just love, that's when you really are connecting with your true self and your soul. So when you're getting triggered, and you hear that anger and that ego and all the things that are triggering you to feel these bad low vibrations, that's a hint that you're ready to work through that and level up. So these people who are triggering you, you're like, thanks, now I get to level up. Okay, instead of being like, I hate this feeling, work through it. Okay, breathe through it, figure out what it is that you are needing to work on, and be thankful, because honestly, once we are triggered, we work through it, and then we're leveling up, and it's getting, you get good, it gets good. So figure out the triggers, work through it, and the biggest thing, and this is what I was just trying to get in on, is that you can get triggered on multiple things. So if you think that you are working through something and that you've worked on it, and then all of a sudden you get triggered by the same thing, know that you are always going to heal it as much as you can. And so if you get triggered again, don't get angry at yourself, because I know that's what I do. I'm like, I worked so hard on working through this trigger, and now it's back again. Like, what? But I worked on it the best I could, the best to my ability. And so instead of getting angry, be like, okay, all right, I have more to work on this. Um, and then it'll level up again. So it might be here, and then you level up. And you still might have it, but you need to level up a little bit more. So, again, instead of being so angry at yourself, be like, hey, I did work really hard. Pat yourself on the back, and then, okay, well, obviously I still have more to work on. Let's work through this, and that way I can level up more. So a lot of times when we feel like we didn't work through it, we just get down and then we don't work through it, and then we're not leveling up. So go easy on yourselves. I know I have a hard time doing that as well, but that's what I'm here. I'm here for encouragement, to let you know that triggers can be a good thing. They are a good thing. We asked for it prior to this lifetime. We were like, hey, you know what? I've still got this to work on, or I know I need to work on this. We have these triggers and these low vibrations. If we're at that low vibration, we're going to bring that into our lives so that we can work on it and get through it. So I know this is a very long video. I think I went off track a little bit. But hopefully that's helpful, and you can look at triggers a little differently. Again, hit like if you like this, hit subscribe if you really liked it, and then if you have any suggestions or questions or any videos you'd like me to work on, please comment below. Thank you.